Hello guys, Crispy here, welcome back to another video. In this one, my friends, I'm going to be testing a GeForce GTX 1650 4GB GDDR5 in Black Myth Wukong. This one is a Gigabyte Mini ITX OC model of the card. We are running it with the latest Nvidia drivers here, and I'm not manually overclocking it. You can see all of its specs right here in Tech Power-Ups GPU Z, and again, it's the GDDR5 version. GDDR6 will be a little bit faster. And over on the left, I'm pairing it with a Ryzen 5 3600X and 16GB of DDR4 3200MHz CL14 RAM in dual channel. Let's get into it, shall we? Alright, let's go over the settings first. I am starting at 1080p resolution, which is probably a terrible idea. So I'm also going to try 720p in this video, plus FSR as well. Right now it's set to 100%, so it's at native res, just applying the sharpening from FSR. And we're using the lowest settings here because, well, it's a 1650. It's below the minimum requirements, actually. Well, it is getting 30 FPS, so it might actually be possible to play this game with a 1650 GDDR5. Guys, I actually wasn't expecting it to run very well here at 1080p, and although it isn't running very well, I am impressed to see these results right now, guys. I think with some FSR at like 50% at the very least, it should be capable of achieving quite decent results even in boss fights and stuff like that, so yeah, kind of a good result to start this off. UE5 can actually be optimized, or at least it's scalable, right? The game doesn't look very impressive at all at the moment. It looks worse than some other UE4 titles even. I like to see that scalability. I like to see that the game can be lowered down enough in terms of quality to make it playable even on older or weaker GPUs like GTX 1650, which is still a super popular card, you know? Also, yes, I am avoiding fights right now because, well, these are way too low FPS for me to get into a boss fight and stuff like that, so not gonna do that. But let's stop it right there, still in the bamboo forest here, and let's enable some FSR. We also got some frame generation here, which I don't recommend you to use with a baseline of 30 FPS, you know, it's gonna feel very laggy in terms of that input lag, because with frame generation you usually see half of the FPS in terms of input lag, you know, so it feels, turning the mouse around and stuff like that, it feels pretty laggy. Probably can't really tell like this is not a scientific method, but well, it is. But trust me guys, it feels like I'm playing the game with like 20 FPS at this point, which is in line with half of the FPS that we're getting at the moment. So you don't want to do this, okay? Let's disable that frame generation and set it to 67% resolution scale here on FSR, which is quality FSR basically, and it should run at 30 plus FPS, at least running around here. FSR does look quite a bit worse than DLSS in this one. I'm not sure about which implementation of FSR this game is running, but it kind of looks like 2.1 or something like that, because it's very noisy. You can tell around the character there, everything is super noisy. There's quite a bit of a layer of noise, basically, whenever I move, and doesn't look good whatsoever. With frame generation on top of that, it will look even worse probably. So yeah, can't wait to use it, right? Maybe 720p resolution native is the way to go with the GTX 1650 actually, because this FSR implementation is pretty bad. And TSR is also available in this game. It's quite a bit more intensive than FSR here, so I don't really recommend it either. Although it might actually look a little bit better than this, but it's softer at the same time, so I don't know, guys. The upscalers in this game, aside from DLSS, they're not really doing that great of a job. XeSS aside, I haven't really tested that with an ARC GPU yet. Anyway, this is somewhat playable. Oh my god, this guy... Oh, I'm already poisoned, dude. I don't even know how to avoid his attacks, honestly. Like, this is not a boss, it's just a normal enemy, and it's it's super hard to fight him, because you just can't dodge the freaking poison that well. Yeah, I'm traveling here to different parts of the map, basically, that we've already been through in other videos with other GPUs, of course, and it's starting to stutter a little bit because it's traversal stuttering coming from UE5. Such an amazing engine, this one, right? No. At least over in this area, we can actually kill these guys pretty easily. So there's that. Let's grab this thing as well. I'm gonna stop it right there though. Let's go ahead and try it with frame generation on top of this. Okay, here we go. FSR 67% scaling, which is quality with frame generation enabled. And yeah, in terms of input lag, since we're getting 60s and still lower than 60s sometimes, it's pretty bad. It's still kind of the same as half of the FPS, so 30 FPS, sometimes even 20s. It's not feeling good, and once again, the artifacting is a bit more emphasized right now. The little noise that you see around the character moving, or any moving part of the image actually, but right now everything is very, very static. So you might be seeing these FPS and thinking, wow, it's actually a pretty decent experience, but in terms of the input lag, again, it's way too bad. I really don't recommend this, okay? Let's kill these guys. That's something that you don't see with all of those benchmark videos with people that don't talk. I used to be one of them, actually, like 5 years ago. I didn't really talk in these videos. But yeah, now that I do, and this is my job, yeah, it's a little bit better this way to share my experience with you and to say that these 50 FPS don't feel responsive at all. So don't use this, okay? All right, let's move on to 720p resolution, which should be quite decent. I'm gonna turn off frame generation as well, and the super resolution is back to 100%. And I'm also going to quit to the desktop and restart the game. And I'm going to select the 720p resolution in the desktop itself, because this game only has borderless or windowed mode, and the frame generation stuff will work better if you set it in the desktop. Just going over the settings again, we're at 720p, FSR is set to 100%, frame generation is off, everything is on the lowest. Alright, it seems like we are getting slightly higher FPS than FSR quality at 1080p resolution, right? But now we don't have all of that noise. It's still a little bit noisy because this game, even at native resolution, has a lot of noise around the hair and the fur, basically, but it is a bit more passable and a little bit more pleasing to the eye, in my opinion, if you just play at 720p resolution native compared to FSR quality in this particular title. Again, with DLSS, it's a different story. It actually looks great with DLSS quality. It could look better still. It's a bit over-sharpened there, but at least it's not noisy, right? And I mean, if you prefer the noise, go ahead and play at 1080p with noise and FSR quality, but I do prefer it using 720p resolution. And that's not always the case, you know? Usually FSR quality looks better at 1080p than 720p native does. But this game, I don't know why, it's just way too noisy for me. I don't really like it. Let's go. Try to fight the boss right now, okay, guys? It's probably not going to go very well because we need to kill him twice, unfortunately. And I struggled to kill him once. So I'm probably going to be stuck here forever in the next benchmark videos, unfortunately. The game is way too hard. Starting to drop quite a lot into the low 30s, as you can see. Oh, boy. Okay. Just stop right there. Stop right there. I used my spell to make him a statue, and it didn't work, dude. Seriously? Oh, my God. Okay, let me drink my healing potion, please, in peace. It actually does slow down by quite a lot, guys. Look at the 1% lows, 19 frames per second. It doesn't feel good. It definitely doesn't feel good. And I'm dead. I knew this would happen, just not this soon into the video. So yeah, when you're fighting bosses, the effects get way too complicated for a little 1650 to handle them properly, unfortunately. And this is what you get. Some real big drops that are actually noticeable. Even if the FPS themselves don't drop that much, you know? Only into the low 30s, maybe? Oh my God, please. Please, I pressed 4, you know, to change form to the fire guy, like 4 times. 5 times, actually. Let's not make it 4 times. I pressed it like 5 times, and it didn't work. Oh, it's so annoying. Oh, there we go. Come on. Let's go. Come on. Okay. We're fighting the bastard. We're fighting the bastard very well. Not anymore. Yeah, so I need more FPS, basically. And I'm gonna try to get them right now. Okay, so first let's try 67% resolution scale of 720p, which is quality FSR once again. And it's gonna become pretty noisy, but at least we're getting native FPS at the moment, right? God damn it, okay. Heal myself, let's go. Okay. What is he doing? I don't even know what the crap that is. Alright, so now we went from like 30-ish FPS into the 40s and even 50s at times, which is not bad. Alright, come on. Fight the bastard. Let's go. Okay, you know what? Let's use the frog now. Froggy frog, kill the bastard. Let's go. If I kill him once, I will be very impressed, because it took me a while to do that with the RTX 4080 Super and decent FPS. Come on, kill this one. Let's go. Frame time graph is a little bit thicker than I'd like as well. I'm not sure why, though. With other GPUs, it was a flat line most of the time, aside from the stuttering issues. But here it's like a thick line for some reason. Maybe because the FPS are too low. Yeah, probably because of that. With the other GPUs, I didn't really see it drop that far. At least not with ray tracing and so on. Anyway, come on. Kill this one as well. It's now playable, I guess. You could definitely get used to this. There is a lot of trailing and noise around your character moving and so on because of FSR at 720p resolution. Doesn't look that great, does it? But, yeah, if you can look past all of the imperfections in the image quality, there is a game to be enjoyed here at 720p. I mean, with 50 FPS, you know, it's going to be okay. Anyway, I'm gonna go here and enable the frame generation at the same time and set this back to 67%. Every time you go to this menu, it drops 1% on the super resolution. It's very weird how this game works. And it doesn't give us that many more FPS, guys. It looks smoother, for sure, especially on YouTube, since you're not feeling the input lag. But again, the input lag that we're getting at the moment is about 30 FPS input lag. So it's better to just play at 50 FPS natively without as much artifacting at the same time and just enjoy it like that, guys. Look at that. Around here, it goes up into the 90s. That's the thing about frame generation, guys. It looks like it's performing very well with 80 FPS, but in reality, you're getting input lags of 40 FPS. And when it drops into the 60s, of 60 FPS. And when it drops into the 50s, of 20s FPS. And it just doesn't feel that great, unfortunately. If they manage to fix the input lag from frame generation, this will be insanely useful tech. Oh my god, I can't hit the guy, look at that. Ugh. And it's dropping sometimes from 60 FPS as well. It's pretty bad, guys. I would much rather have the 30 or 40 FPS experience that we had previously with quality FSR, 720p resolution than this. Even though it shows 60 plus FPS in the counter. Alright. And, well, I guess that's been it for this one. It is somewhat playable. It's impressive that it's playable, given that it is a UE5 title. It's also very impressive that you can lower down the graphics to look like this, right? I wasn't expecting that coming from a 2024 title, but I like to see it. But yeah, if you have the 1650, unfortunately, can't really recommend this game at this point in time. At least for full price. Maybe if you can get it for like 15 bucks in the future, it's worth a shot at lowest settings in 720p, but I wouldn't be buying a game full price to play at sub 60 FPS at 720p lowest settings with FSR. Okay, so that's been it. There are more games that you can enjoy with this GPU. Check out the playlist down below in the description if you're interested. I have tested like 100 plus games on it already. So yeah, check that out if you haven't already. And I'll catch you in the next one very soon, after I die, which is now. As always, love you all. Bye-bye.